They told me not to go to the Philippines. They said it was unsafe, unpredictable, and not worth the risk. Friends shook their heads, strangers on the internet warned me, and even fellow travelers whispered their doubts. I heard stories of crime, of storms, of getting stranded far from home. I was told I'd regret it. But something inside me kept pulling me toward those islands. Something told me that if I didn't go, I'd miss out on something I could never find anywhere else. And I'm glad I didn't listen. From the moment I stepped out of the airport in Manila, I knew this was going to be different. The air was heavy and warm, filled with the scent of food being cooked on every corner. Jeepneys, those colorful buses with music blasting and artwork painted across their sides, rolled past with people laughing and talking inside. It was noisy, chaotic, but alive in a way I had never felt before. The warnings about danger and fear suddenly felt small compared to the energy of the place. I started with the people, because no matter where you go, it's the people who define a country. And in the Philippines, the people are what shocked me most. Complete strangers treated me like family. They smiled, waved, and sometimes even offered me food without expecting anything in return. One man on the street stopped just to ask me where I was from, and when I told him, his face lit up and he said, "Welcome to the Philippines." That was it. No agenda, no hidden reason, just kindness. It kept happening everywhere I went, and the food. They told me it would be too strange, that I might not enjoy it. But they were wrong. I tried adobo, chicken slowly cooked until it melted in my mouth, soaked in soy sauce, vinegar, and garlic. I ate sinigang, a sour soup that tasted both comforting and refreshing at the same time. And then there was lechon, roasted pig with skin so crispy it crunched with every bite. The flavors were bold but familiar, and every meal came with rice, because in the Philippines, rice isn't just food, it's life. I thought the food was enough to surprise me, but then I saw the islands. The Philippines isn't just one place. It's more than 7,000 islands, each with its own beauty. Palawan felt like stepping into a dream. Limestone cliffs rose straight out of turquoise water, and boats carried me into hidden lagoons where the water was so clear I could see fish swimming around my feet. In El Nido, the sunsets painted the sky orange and purple, and in Coron, the shipwrecks beneath the sea told silent stories of a different time. Boracay was different, lively and full of energy, with its famous white beach stretching on like a painting. I walked barefoot on sand as soft as powder while music drifted out from beachside bars. At night, fire dancers lit up the shore, spinning flames against the darkness as crowds clapped and cheered. And then there were quieter moments. Sitting by the sea with locals who shared stories of typhoons, of family, of survival and joy, I realized this wasn't just about travel. It was about connection. Cebu shocked me with its mix of city life and natural wonders. One day I was surrounded by skyscrapers. The next I was swimming with whale sharks in Oslab. Looking into the eyes of those gentle giants, creatures bigger than buses yet moving gracefully through the water, was one of the most humbling moments of my life. Kawasan Falls added to the magic. I followed a trail through lush jungle until I reached water the color of emeralds pouring down into pools where families swam and laughed. I jumped in and felt like a child again. But it wasn't only the famous spots that mattered. Some of the best memories happened in small villages, places no guidebook had ever mentioned. In one town, I was invited into a family's home. They gave me a simple meal of rice, fish, and vegetables, and we talked for hours about life. Their house was modest, their income small, but their generosity was larger than anything I had ever known. They insisted I eat first, even when I could tell they didn't have much. That kind of kindness leaves a mark that never fades. Everywhere I went, I kept thinking about the warnings I had heard before coming. Yes, the Philippines has challenges, like any other country, but danger wasn't what I found. What I found was warmth. What I found was community. People helped me when I got lost, guided me when I had questions, and never once made me feel unwelcome. I realized fear often comes from not knowing. And once you step into the unknown, you see how different reality is from rumor. One of the most unforgettable experiences was in Bohol, where I saw the chocolate hills. Hundreds of perfectly rounded hills stretching across the landscape, turning brown in the dry season and green when the rains came. They looked almost unreal, like something out of a fantasy story. And nearby, I saw the tarsier, one of the world's smallest primates, with eyes so big they looked like they were holding secrets from another world. Holding such fragile life in front of me made me respect the Philippines even more, a place where nature is treasured and unique. Siargao showed me a different side. Known as the surfing capital of the Philippines, it was alive with adventure. Surfers from around the world gathered to ride the waves at Cloud 9, and even though I wasn't much of a surfer, I felt the excitement. The island was green and wild, with coconut trees stretching as far as the eye could see. I rented a scooter and rode through endless fields, the wind in my face, feeling free in a way I hadn't in years. Even the cities surprised me. Manila was overwhelming at first, the traffic, the noise, the endless motion. But beneath the chaos was culture. Intramuros, the old walled city, carried echoes of Spanish history, cobblestone streets, and centuries-old churches. Modern malls towered nearby, filled with lights, music, and the pulse of young people shaping the future. It was a mix of old and new, tradition and change, all existing side by side. Davao felt calmer, known for its durian fruit with its infamous smell but sweet taste. Mount Apo stood tall nearby, the highest peak in the Philippines, challenging adventurers to climb it. And the people of Mindanao, so often misunderstood, welcomed me with open arms. Their stories were full of resilience, of building lives despite hardships. Listening to them reminded me that strength isn't about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them with courage. Every step of my journey, I kept thinking back to those voices that had warned me not to come. They said it wasn't worth it, but they couldn't have been more wrong. The Philippines gave me some of the most beautiful landscapes I've ever seen. It gave me food that filled not just my stomach, but also my heart. It gave me friendships with people I may never meet again, but will always remember. And then there were the festivals. In Cebu, I experienced Sinulog, a celebration of dance, music, and devotion. Streets overflowed with people wearing bright costumes, moving to the rhythm of drums. Paint splattered everywhere, laughter filled the air, and for a moment, I felt like I was part of something bigger than myself. Festivals in the Philippines aren't just events. They're explosions of life, reminders of joy, resilience, and community. When I traveled through remote islands, I discovered something else: simplicity. Life was slower. Children played outside with sticks and stones, making games out of whatever they found. Families gathered together at night, sharing stories under the stars. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and that seemed to be enough. Watching them made me question what we often call happiness in the modern world. Maybe happiness isn't in having more, but in appreciating what you already have. Even nature carried lessons. Typhoons hit the Philippines often, and I spoke to people who had lost homes, even loved ones. Yet they smiled, they rebuilt, they moved forward. Their resilience was unlike anything I'd ever seen. They told me life was tough, but faith, family, and community gave them strength. Hearing those words, I realized the Philippines wasn't just beautiful on the outside. It was strong on the inside. Traveling the Philippines wasn't just about sightseeing, it was about learning. I learned that fear can stop you from experiencing some of the greatest gifts the world has to offer. I learned that kindness from strangers can change your heart forever. I learned that sometimes the places people tell you to avoid are the ones that leave the deepest impact. And now, whenever people ask me about the Philippines, I tell them the truth. Yes, it has its challenges, but it also has magic you can't find anywhere else. From Palawan's lagoons to Cebu's waterfalls, from Boracay's beaches to Manila's history, from Siargao's waves to Bohol's hills, this country is overflowing with beauty. But more than anything, it's the people. Always the people. They told me not to go to the Philippines. I'm glad I didn't listen, because if I had, I never would have discovered a place so rich in soul, so alive with stories, so unforgettable. The Philippines isn't just a destination. It's a reminder that sometimes the best journeys begin when you ignore the warnings, take the leap, and see for yourself. And when you do, you may find, like I did, that the place you were told to avoid becomes the place you'll never forget. So if you've ever wondered about the Philippines, don't let fear stop you. Don't let doubts hold you back. Go see it for yourself. Taste the food, meet the people, explore the islands, and live the stories. You'll understand why I'm glad I didn't listen. And if you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe for more documentaries as we uncover the world one story at a time.